host, Terrence Alexander, which y'all already knew that. You already knew that, all right? So y'all know what the deal is with the podcast is to help you consider and ultimately trust God with your decisions. Because Jack Harlow once said, you don't need Givenchy, you need Jesus, all right? And we all need some Jesus, okay? So thank you guys once again for the love, for the feedback, the comments, and everything. With this one, I would really like some feedback. If y'all could give it to me, I want y'all to get interactive with me on this one, okay? So let me know what y'all think in the comments. Here's the question. Is humility a sign of weakness? Okay, so that's the topic for today. Is humility a sign of weakness? All right, so without further ado, here goes the definition of humility. Freedom from pride or arrogance, okay? And so here's the definition of pride. Inordinate self-esteem, okay? And we have a definition of arrogance. That's an attitude of superiority or excessive superiority, okay? So we may come up with, hey, where does pride and arrogance come from? And ultimately, it comes from the sinful nature, all right? So if we jump into Genesis 3, we've been in Genesis 3 a lot these last few episodes, okay? So we're just going to go to verse 5. And this is when the serpent is talking to Eve. For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil, all right? So the key term of that is you will be like God. That's where our pride comes from, wanting to be like God, wanting to know good and evil. That's where the arrogance comes from, okay? We're not God, we're humanity, okay? God is God, we're humans, okay? That's separate, all right? So ultimately, yeah. So even in our American society, we see that, having strength, physical strength, having courage, sacrifice, being victorious, being the top dog, and boasting about all these things, as a part of the American society. Those are things we take pride in, and that can be positive and that can be negative, okay? So we kind of see what positive pride does for us. We see what negative pride does for us. And we see, that we attain this prideful, this arrogant sense in our nature due to the fall of man. Forgive me, all right? So there we go. So we're going to jump into a hip hop example, all right? So there's a rapper by the name of J. Cole who came out with a song on his most recent album. The song is titled "Pride Is the Devil."
J. Cole's birth name is Jermaine Lamar Cole, and he was born on January 28, 1985.
Thank you, Alexa. J. Cole recently came out with a song titled "Pride Is the Devil," okay? And in the song, he basically talks about the negative connotations of being prideful, okay? What it does to humanity. So here are some of the lyrics that's in that song, all right? So here's like some key lyrics. Make a brother flash 1,000 like he hit the lottery. That's $1,000. Make you have to use your last resort and pull a robbery, okay? So he mentions these are some of the things that pride will do to us. And he also says pride make a brother act way harder than he really be, okay? So it'll make you act tougher than you really are. You're not so tough, but you want to be tough because you have this pride in you, okay? And I wrote these notes down for, humility a few weeks ago. But this past Sunday, there's this rapper who's from Philadelphia. His name is P&B Rock. He came to Los Angeles. He came to get something to eat at Roscoe's in a distinct location around here in Los Angeles. He has his chain on. He got multiple chains on. He got his jewelry on. He's flashing. He's showing all his material things. And his girlfriend, they post that they're on the way to Roscoe's, whatever, in their car. She's flashing and, things like that. And then when they get to Roscoe's, she posts a picture of her plate while they're eating, okay? So everyone knows where they are. She deletes it, so people can't track her. But, it's too late because some guys come in the Roscoe's intending to rob P&B Rock of his jewelry, all right? And in this attempted robbery, they ended up shooting him and killing him in cold blood, okay? So he's at Roscoe's trying to have a good meal, and he ends up dying, okay? So just like J. Cole said, it'll make a brother flash 1,000 like he hit the lottery, okay? So P&B Rock was flashing his money. He was flashing his goods. His girlfriend was flashing everything, letting them know where they are, And then, it says, make you have to use your last resort in desperation and pull a robbery, okay? So we see what the robber did. He was jealous. He was envious, all right? He had so much pride. He was desperate, His circumstance must have been really bad because he came to rob P&B Rock of his jewelry and ended up murdering him. Okay, so we see what pride does to us. Okay, so we're gonna go to another hip hop example of Kendrick Lamar. He came out with a song called Pride a few years ago, and the opening statement of this song is, "Love's gonna get you killed, but pride is gonna be the death of you." All right, so that's a very deep introspective topic. Okay, love's gonna get you killed, but pride is gonna be the death of you. Kendrick Lamar understands what pride can do to you. He explains it in the song, how it kind of conflicts with his values and things like that. So we see what pride can do to you, okay? We see it, all right? So therefore, we're gonna go to some examples. Actually, we're gonna go to a few examples in the Bible, okay? So Proverbs 16:18, okay? It says, "Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall," okay? So we see pride goes before destruction, and an arrogant spirit before a fall. So when you are prideful and arrogant, you're going to fall flat on your face, okay? So how do we go against this? All right, so we need an example. We're going to look at the example of Jesus Christ, our Lord, all right? So we're going to look at Luke chapter 18, verse 19. I think it's 18 and 19. But here we go. A certain ruler asked him, and that him is Jesus, "Good teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" And Jesus says, "Why do you call me good? No one is good except God alone." All right. So Jesus knew that he was God, but he said, "Hey, look, I'm not that great. God is good." We said, "Oh, actually," he says, "Why do you call me good?" You know, Jesus answered, "No one is good except God alone." Okay. And then another example of Jesus' humility is when he was on trial. Okay. So this is Matthew 27:14. He's on trial. The religious leaders, they were out to get him. They said, "Hey, he's causing a lot of trouble. He's flipping the script." But Jesus was just doing God's will, okay? He didn't do anything wrong. He was blameless, all right? So here, when he's on trial, Matthew 27:13, 12 through 14. We're going to start at verse 12, okay? "When he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he gave no answer. Then Pilate asked him, 'Don't you hear the testimony they are bringing against you?' But Jesus made no reply, not even a single charge, to the great amazement of the governor." So in this case, Jesus was humble in his demeanor, okay? Jesus didn't say a word. He didn't have to defend himself, okay? Even though he was blameless. Most people would have said, "Hey, Jesus, you're going to let them just step all over you? Where's your spine, But Jesus didn't say a word. He knew what he had to do. He had to go to the cross, so they had to convict him of whatever it is they accuse him of. So he can go to the cross and die for the sins of the world. Jesus was very intentional in this case, okay? So humility in this sense is a strength, all right? It's not a weakness, all right? So, without further ado, that's it for those two examples. So, with every episode, I like to go into an example of my own when I dealt with some, whatever the topic has. And there was a time when I was kind of struggling with some humility and arrogance. When I was 17 years old, I was a senior in high school. I was aiming to get my license, so I had passed my written test. And then I had to wait 6 months because I was a minor to take my driver's test. Okay, so that was a long process. Okay, that didn't come quick and easy. All right, so it comes to the point where I have to take the test. I tell my parents, the driver's test. I tell my parents, like, "Hey, I'm gonna pass. It's gonna be a breeze. I'm gonna be whipping it. I'm gonna be doing what I'm doing." All right, so I was kind of arrogant, like, "I got this. Ain't no sweat off my back. It's all good. I'm gonna knock this thing out." I take the driver's test the next day. I fail. All right. So the limit was 15. You couldn't get more than 15 wrong. I got 16 wrong, okay? So I got 16 wrong. I went back to school the next day to tell my friends, I had to face it. But I lied, okay? I told them, I said, "Hey, look, the system went down, so they got to put me down for another 2 weeks. They forgot my appointment, this and that, and yada, yada." I forgot the lie I told, but I said, "Hey, look, I got to take it another 2 weeks." But it wasn't because I failed. I said it was because of something else. That's what makes this whole thing worse. I was lying. I was capping. I wasn't telling the truth. I had too much pride in me to just say, "Hey, look, I failed. And I just got to take it again another 2 weeks." I was too embarrassed. I was too prideful to admit the truth, okay? So in these situations, it's always best to just tell the truth, y'all. Just tell the truth, you know what I'm saying? Whenever you're dealing with something, you might be embarrassed. You might have too much pride. You might be arrogant. It might be ugly. It might be nasty. It might be all kind of stuff. But it's best if you just tell the truth, okay? That's the best way to go. The Lord don't like cap, all right? The Lord don't like cap. The Lord don't like a lying tongue. So it's best that you just tell the truth. Face whatever it is you got to face. face the music, and go about your life, all right? This is the best thing to do. So what you guys think about this, all right? I want y'all to leave some love in the comments. Respond to me. Let me know what you guys think about it. Is humility a sign of weakness, all right? There's good pride, there's negative pride, but is humility a sign of weakness? Is not showing your material things, is that a sign of weakness? You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you guys think about it. Let me know in the comments. Show some love. Feel free to follow, subscribe, like. Keep sharing. Keep tapping in. I appreciate you guys, man. Do good. Be wise. Trust God. I'm going to see y'all next week, all right? Peace out, y'all.